You will not be surprised to hear that so far I've had no debunking takers for my meme that I created in the last episode of Debunking Flat Earth Memes. It's been nothing but crickets for the last 2 weeks. No surprise there. So we revert to the normal format, which is of course debunking their silly little memes. And this week the Flat Earthers are taking on Sir Isaac Newton. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Debunking Flat Earth Memes with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a massive thank you to the sponsors of this video, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or managing a growing brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything from products to content to time. All in one place, all on your terms. And you can start a completely personalised website with the new guided design system Squarespace Blueprint. You can choose from professionally curated layout and styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up, tailored to your brand or business and optimised for every device. Easily launch your website and get discovered fast with integrated optimised SEO tools, so you show up more often to more people and grow the way you want. And if you have a shop, you can make checkout seamless for your customers with simple but powerful payment tools where you can accept credit cards, PayPal and Apple Pay, and in eligible countries offer customers the options to buy now and pay later with Afterpay and ClearPay. And you can measure your end-to-end online performance with powerful website and seller analytics, where you can get insights on top traffic sources, understand how your reach is growing, track sales metrics, and learn where to focus new engagement. It's all the data you need to scale your brand or business, fully integrated and clearly displayed. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/SimonDan, where you can get 10% off your first purchase of any website or domain. Right, on with today's video, where you won't be surprised to hear that this meme this week is founded on misunderstanding and poor education. This is the meme in question, and I bet you've heard this argument before at some point on a video or a social media post. Let's take a closer look. 2 reasons this is impossible. 1, no combustion without oxygen. 2, no medium to push against in the vacuum of space. We will of course address the 2 points separately, but first I want to express my disappointment that a meme like this has been made in the first place. Now, this has either been made, this meme, by a blind follower who's heard this argument from their favourite flerf, or a flerf content creator who knows this isn't true. Either way, it's a problem. It's a dangerous meme, because I believe it's one of those memes that makes sense to the layman or average person. So let's get this debunking underway, shall we? And we'll start with point 1. No combustion without oxygen. A regular fire here on Earth under normal circumstances does require oxygen to burn. Nearly all combustions here on the surface of Earth uses and requires atmospheric oxygen. But rocket combustion is not a normal fire. In a rocket engine there are 2 primary propellants, a fuel and an oxidizer. Now these are mixed and exploded in a combustion chamber. Now that combustion is a chemical reaction, and it produces a hot exhaust which is passed through a nozzle to accelerate the flow and create thrust. Now the oxidizer in this equation, in the fuel tanks, is what replaces the atmospheric oxygen that we would have here on Earth. Let's take the Saturn V rocket as an example here. The first stage of the Saturn V rocket burned for around 2.5 minutes to around 68 kilometers in altitude. Now in this stage it used kerosene as a fuel and it used liquid oxygen as an oxidizer. The second and third stages of the Saturn V rocket used liquid hydrogen as a fuel and also liquid oxygen again as an oxidizer. So you see, the liquid oxygen in those tanks effectively replaces the atmospheric oxygen usually required. Of course, the combustion itself is not enough to make the rocket work. It needs to be concentrated through that nozzle to get the thrust required. Which brings us on nicely to point number 2. No medium to push against in the vacuum of space. Now, I understand what the flerfs are trying to imply here. A boat pushes against water to obtain thrust. A plane, the air itself. And a road vehicle, the road. So their argument is a vacuum contains nothing, therefore there's nothing to push against. Of course, the problem is they didn't listen during their science lessons as a kid. Newton's 3 laws of motion are taught at a relatively young age here in the UK, and probably around the world as well. Specifically law 3, which says, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. This law is the principle of how rockets work in space. It does not require an external medium like air or water to push against. Instead, it involves the internal forces within the rocket. In space there's no air, but this does not matter. The rocket is not pushing against air. It is expelling mass exhaust gases in one direction, and that propels it in the opposite direction. Taking our Saturn V rocket as an example again, the thrust or force produced by the fuel and oxidizer in stage 1 is 33.3 million newtons, with an effective exhaust velocity of approximately 2,500 meters per second. Now, the average velocity of stage 1 is 2,800 meters per second. Why the discrepancy, I hear you ask? Well, as the fuel is burned, the rocket gets lighter, which gives that overall higher average velocity for stage 1. And that, I think, just about wraps up quite nicely this debunking. As I said earlier, it's a real tricky one as it looks like it makes sense at first glance. But as usual, if you dig a little deeper, you will see exactly what's going on. If you see this argument anywhere on your travels, link this video below it so we can get more eyes on it. I am truly on a mission to debunk every single one of these stupid flat earth memes. If you see one on your social media travels, then please don't be afraid to send it across to me via email at simandan@gmail.com. But for now, we're all done and debunked for another meme debunking video. Thanks so much for joining me. Thanks so much for watching. It is always appreciated. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing to the channel for more of the same. I will link the playlist to these debunking meme videos below, because we're on episode 14 now. There's loads that have come before. And of course, if you really enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button too. Just enough time to once again thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Remember, go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, squarespace.com/simandan to get that 10% off your first purchase of any website or domain. I've been Simandan. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you all on Friday for the return of Santos and another one of his flat earth proofs. See you then.